La Sabatti iniziò a produrre le carabine bolt action da casa.
Sabatti started to manufacture bolt-action hunting rifles about 40 years ago. I was a graduate university student back then. Soon after having started working in the company, I realized that target shooting was something that could have become very important for Sabatti. So I started to follow the competitions of some bench rest shooters, so much so that our first 6 PPC caliber rifles enjoyed a good level of success. Why was the tactical rifle so important for Sabatti? Essentially for 2 reasons. The first, of course, were the numbers. The Sabatti tactical rifle was sold very well both in Italy and abroad, and the market success was huge. The second reason why the tactical rifle was so important for us is that it allowed thousands of shooters to begin to practice at the shooting range and on competition grounds with a reasonably priced rifle that would still offer very, very interesting performances, often winning competitions. Thus, a rifle was able to provide great satisfactions. In this way, we contributed to turn what was just a niche market into a greatly expanding market, into a bigger one, to which thousands of new shooters have accessed. That's it. So I don't want to get all the credit for this, but we did give a significant contribution.
La vecchia carabina tattica, che penso tutti gli appassionati conoscono.
The old tactical rifle, well known to all shooters, was essentially characterized by the fact of using the same action of the rover rifle, an action intended for hunting, which anyway has proven to be effective for shooting as well. A quite heavy barrel, an all-rounder polymer stock, meaning that the stock was perfect for sport shooting, but also for tactical use. So let's say a rifle that anyone has been able to use with success in any shooting situation, therefore a general-purpose rifle, if we want to put it this way. Then, some changes have been made over the years. The first real change has arrived with the multi-radial barrels. By the time we introduced multi-radial rifled barrels, we had a huge step forward. It's not like that traditional barrels shot bad, but it's a fact that all multi-radial barrels shoot well, from well to very well. A very low variability in the quality of shooting. As all shooters know all too well, multi-radial barrels feature a rifling that doesn't cut the bullet, but instead, just different radius alternating one to each other, so that the bullet is not cut, but just deformed. And this provides a series of advantages, such as better velocity. Barrels that can be manufactured by cold hammer forging, a technique fitting very to this kind of rifling profiles. And that's the technology we use to manufacture multi-radial barrels. The quality level of the barrels immediately became very high, because this is the perfect technology to manufacture these barrels.
La nuova carabina tattica Evo.
The new tactical Evo rifle, where Evo means evolution, and not just a simple refreshing or upgrade, but a total evolution of the rifle, has changed the game completely. Sure, we sold and we go on selling the old tactical rifle quite well, but now we felt the need for something different, and even more performing. Many shooters and Sabatti rifle enthusiasts know that since a couple of years we have designed an action specifically conceived for target shooting. This action is found already on the TLD rifle, a sport shooting only model, and on the STR-18 tactical rifle. We used the same action on the tactical Evo rifle, so the heart of the gun is completely new, and this alone would be enough to define it as a totally different rifle. Along with the new action with 3 locking lugs and a 16 degrees opening angle, we introduced some important improvements, such as the Extractor. It may look like a banality, but the pivoting extractor of the rover action, a good extractor always performing very well, could however cause problems with some powerful ammunition reloads. I know that many shooters hand-load their ammunition, and it may happen to exceed the pressure levels. This new action guarantees endurance on high pressures, out-of-control pressures, much better than the old rover action. and this is an additional safety for the shooter. This alone would make this new action, specifically designed for sport shooting, worthwhile to use.
Anche le canne hanno subito un aggiornamento.
Barrels as well have been updated. Of course, we now have much more experience with multi-radial barrels. We defined rifling profiles that further increased the accuracy of the rifle. We modified the twist rates for some calibers, so the barrels were optimized. We improved the roughness levels of the bore, so that the travel of the bullet through the barrel is improved. We have a better, smoother, more polished barrel, bringing more velocity, more consistency, more accuracy. Finally, we equipped every barrel with a protected threading at the muzzle so that shooters can install a muzzle brake or any other accessory they may want to use.
Anche il calcio ha subito un forte restyling.
The stock was also heavily restyled. At a first glance, it doesn't seem much different from the original, apart from a few modifications needed to host the new action. Actually, we did something very peculiar. We coated the stock with a special product that creates an outer protective layer, making the stock even more rigid. All put together, the stock is very captivating. It's not just a matter of aesthetics, it's also substance. We were able to verify it as soon as we installed the first action on the first stock. We just screwed them together and tried it. The rifle was immediately very accurate and didn't require any additional tinkering with. No bedding, no nothing. By experience, I can tell you that when you put a new action and a new stock together and the gun turns out to be a good performer immediately, you've been very lucky. Everything you did worked perfectly.
Sabatti
is among the world-leading manufacturers of bolt-action rifles, and over the years, it's designed different actions for specific rifles models. We have the well-known Rover action. A few years ago, we launched the Sapphire action, and this year, with the new tactical Evo Rifle, where Evo stands for Evolution, we've decided to realize a sport shooting action, the Blizzard action, and Sabatti is one of the few manufacturers worldwide to have designed a rifle with an action specific for precision sport shooting, an action with all the features requested by the shooters, who can obtain superior accuracy, superior stability, superior axiality of the barrel with the receiver. So, a specific action for a rifle conceived, designed, manufactured only and exclusively for precision shooting.
Ho detto che abbiamo dovuto modificare il calcio per ospitare la nuova azione.
As I said, we had to modify the stock to host the new action. This was not just as simple as to modify the seat of the action. I decided that, on this rifle, the action would have to basically float over the stock, so the action doesn't actually touch the stock anywhere except on the front and back. In the front, we have a recoil lug dubbing as a support, while on the back, there's a steel cradle that holds the rear portion of the action, right where the retaining screws are. So the action of the tactical Evo rifle can be defined as suspended or hanging, as it doesn't touch the stock anywhere except on the two contact points that we chose. This drastically improves accuracy, since the vibrations that are generated when the gun is fired are prevented to afflict negatively the gun and the natural movement of the barrel by creating parasitic vibrations.
As a matter of fact, given the technical features and the performances, this action is apt and ready for professional applications as well.
Il gruppo di scatto apparentemente non ha subito
At a glance, the trigger would not seem to have undergone any modification. We actually made a lot of changes. Some geometries were changed, but chiefly the use of EDM wire machines to manufacture the internal components of the trigger group was extremely beneficial, as it allowed us to calibrate the geometries and shapes of the mounts and levers, as well as of the third lever, that being in the specific case of the match trigger that we use on this gun. We can now modify any type of trigger and lever in real time, depending on what we want to achieve. Only by pulling the trigger you can realize that something has changed, and something has changed for the best indeed.
Prima parlavo della nuova azione.
Going back to the new action, clearly the new action features a new bolt, with 3 locking lugs and 60 degrees opening angle. As you may notice, the bolt is fluted, and the flutings stand out for being black, while the rest of the bolt body is chrome finished, to make it smoother overall. Why the fluting? To make it lighter, of course, but there's another very specific technical reason behind this choice. We want to avoid that any kind of dirt that may get into the ejection port by any means could block the bolt or make it harder to operate during a shooting competition. The dirt would deposit in the helical channels and would by no means obstruct the movement of the bolt. Another noteworthy feature is the tactical bolt knob on the cocking handle. The knob is interchangeable. A 5/16 of an inch thread allows the bolt knob to be replaced with any other compatible aftermarket knob. Going on talking about the bolt, most rifles currently available on the market simply feature a machined bolt. In this case, being this an action specifically oriented to sport shooting, we decided that after the milling, the bolt had to be rectified and chromed to the desired thickness. This to ease its movement, because we reduce attrition. Reducing the levels of attrition results in a much more fluid action, and this is an extremely smooth action. Furthermore, a chrome-lined action will never rust, unlike other bolts found on other rifles. It will never suffer from erosion generated by gases, which could also cause some issue to the striker seat in case of a rupture of the percussion cap. As a matter of fact, this bolt is basically eternal. The reasons why we chose to use an action with 3 locking lugs are the quicker opening of a 60 degrees angle and a more horizontal extraction of the spent case.
Le motivazioni principali per cui
A bolt with 2 locking lugs and a 90 degrees opening angle extracts the spent case at a higher angle, so you have always the risk that the ejected case may impact on a turret of the rifle scope or its mount if it's just a bit prominent, and that's one of the technical aspects. Plus, 3 locking lugs provide a superior overall support surface. Let's be clear, it's not like 2 lugs aren't enough, but an overall superior surface allows us to make wider locking recesses, so the shooter won't be forced to push the bolt all the way down with strength without locking it. Even if it's just a little back, it would still lock without requiring any force.
Tornando alla calciatura, voglio ricordare le possibilità di regolazione.
Going back to the stock, I'd like to highlight the adjustability features. Nothing changed here. We still have a vertically adjustable cheek riser with a checkered dial and 2 locking screws. The cheek riser can also be adjusted horizontally by removing the 2 top screws, then manually positioning the cheek riser to the wanted position, even on inclination, then locking it back in place. The length of pull can be adjusted by using the spacers that Sabatti can provide on request. Last, the forestock is set up to install a Picatinny rail for a bipod. If you remove the action and barrel, you will see that there are preset points partially drilled that can be drilled completely to fit the retaining screws for a Picatinny rail, which we can provide.
The tactical Evo rifle comes in two versions, one for the global international market and a second one specifically conceived for the U.S. market.
Per quanto riguarda le varie versioni disponibili,
Concerning the available versions of the tactical Evo rifle, we have a classic one with matte black action, bolt and stock, like the one you see in this presentation. A variant with fully chromed metal parts is also available. And we also have a desert color version. For special applications, we also developed the tactical Evo Us Variant, where the US suffix means that it will be chiefly aimed to the North American market, but not restricted to it, and it will also be distributed in Europe. The Evo US version was developed because of the specific features of shooting competitions in the United States if compared to other countries. In those competitions, the shooter has to move more often. This version, thus, has a 22mm muzzle instead of 28, a 66 centimeters long barrel instead of 71, and comes with quick-release sling swivel cups.
nella Tactical Evo la calciatura.
The stock of the tactical Evo rifle is manufactured of fiberglass reinforced nylon. It is a very rigid stock, but a little bit heavy, which is unavoidable to obtain certain levels of performance. On the tactical Evo US rifle, where mobility is more important, we selected a different type of polymer that's equally resistant but a bit lighter. We save 400 grams of weight off the stock, which is remarkable.
Ovviamente la carabina Tactical Evo è dotata.
The tactical Evo rifle feeds through detachable magazines. In this case, the magazine is released by pushing the relevant button located within the trigger guard. This here is the standard 3 rounds magazine for the .308 Winchester and .300 Winchester Magnum calibers. It's a short magazine for sport target shooting at the range. For more tactical purposes, we offer this higher capacity magazine holding 6 rounds. Last, the tactical Evo US rifle feeds via different magazines, which are Accuracy International compatible, holding 7 rounds in .308 caliber and similar ones.
I calibri, ecco, questo è un argomento molto interessante.
That's a very interesting topic. Requested calibers have changed over the years. The .308 is still king, but the 6.5 millimeters, which once was synonymous for the famous 6.5 by 55 Swedish Mauser, has now fallen into obsolescence, replaced by the 6.5 by 47 Lapua, a great caliber in terms of accuracy performance that we offer in our selection of chamberings. But the 6.5 Creedmoor is increasingly gaining attention. It's a great caliber, performs very well, the availability of ammunition is high, and comes from the United States. And as everybody knows, when it comes to guns, whatever comes from the United States becomes the standard. Other calibers can be chambered as well, such as the .300 Winchester Magnum, for example, though this caliber has now become a niche one. Other calibers are popping up on the market. Sabatti is always very attentive, and in case of particular requests, we are always ready to intervene quickly and chamber a new and different caliber.
La carabina Sabatti Tactical Evo.
The Sabatti Tactical Evo Rifle is the tip of the spear of our production. This rifle allows us to further consolidate our position in markets where Sabatti is already active since many years, both in the hunting and sport shooting areas. At the same time, the new rifle allows us to access those markets that have just started entering the world of sport shooting, as well as the hunting one.
Con questa nuova carabina Tactical Evo,
With the new Sabatti Tactical Evo rifle, we have completed our offering of precision shooting rifles. Not many other companies, I think, can offer such a broad line of products. Starting from the Tactical Evo, down to the STR Sport with a synthetic stock, and the STR Sport model with a full aluminum chassis, down to our top-notch TLD rifle with a multi-layered beechwood stock. I wish to stress about the beechwood, because most multi-layered rifle stocks currently available on the market are manufactured out of birchwood, which is inferior to beechwood in terms of resistance. So 3 great rifles, 3 very accurate rifles, 3 rifles with totally different features and yet sharing a common point, the fact of being extremely accurate, thanks to the multi-radial barrels that we've used for years now.